Thank you all very much for taking the time to be here. My name is Willie Brown, and I'm honored to swear in 13 new and not old in terms of time of life, but senior representatives, various bodies and boards and commissions in city leadership. I have the privilege today of swearing in 13 people, 5 who have served previously on boards and commissions, and 7 that will be serving for their first time. I am honored to be joined by many distinguished guests, leaders in their own right, in their own capacity, members of various commissions, directors of various departments, our senior leader at City Hall, Steve Cava, my chief of staff, and importantly, former Mayor Willie Brown, who took the time to be here. Thank you, Mayor. I've said this in a few other public occasions, but it bears repeating, particularly in light of the fact that Mayor Brown took the time to be here. But I started my time in tenure here at City Hall. It was actually across the street, the temporary facility, when I got a call from someone in the mayor's office who said that she was very proud that the mayor had selected me to serve on the film commission, which I was quite enthusiastic about. 25, 26 years old, no experience in city government, but I loved movies, and I thought I would make an outstanding film commissioner. From my perspective, it just didn't get any better than that. I don't know about this PUC stuff, port, read it, all, forget that. Film, that's what I was cut out for. So I was invited down to a very large swearing-in ceremony. This is around the first year of the Brown administration. There must have been 50 or 60 people that were in the temporary Board of Supervisors chambers across at the War Memorial. The mayor went around and he started telling stories, as only Brown can do, about every single commissioner. And he finally got across and down to me and didn't have much to say except that he was very enthusiastic that I agreed to be the president of the Parking and Traffic Commission. He didn't tell his staff. He sure as heck didn't tell me. And this is a true story. There was one camera there back in the golden days of Cron 4 that immediately ran over to me after the swearing in and asked me one simple question: what my vision was for parking and traffic in San Francisco. Baptism by fire. I said something along the lines, I pay my parking tickets. It didn't go over so well, but the experience did, and it taught me a lot. It was an interesting year serving as president of that commission. We had some changes in fact, there were 3 different department heads in that one year at parking and traffic. It got very interesting. P.J. Johnson and I got to know each other very well. And we also were involved at the time in raising the upper deck of the Central Freeway. So it was a particularly, it was a really enjoyable year. And I applied myself, I worked hard, and then, as you may recall, I became an affirmative action pick to be the next member of the Board of Supervisors. And you may be quizzical and wondering what the heck I just said and whether or not it was politically correct. Let me remind you that Mayor Brown had the time of his life trying to figure out who would replace Kevin Shelley on the Board of Supervisors a year or so later, and made the point when he appointed me, and the Chronicle made the point when they wrote the headline, that there was so much diversity on the Board of Supervisors, and as someone who longed been a champion of affirmative action in the state, that he needed to walk his talk and appoint a candidate that reflected the diversity of the city by appointing the only straight white male to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. And such was the token pick of Mayor Brown to be a member of the legislative branch. Indeed, very honored about that. And so I'd like to think my tenure and term as a commissioner helped guide in that decision making, but I was certainly proud of both appointments and long-windedly would simply not be here had it not been for Willie Brown. So Willie, thank you for being here. Mayor Brown, thank you for everything. This wouldn't be happening without you. Who knows your past? You may all look at that as a negative in terms of your appointment today, saying, well, I have greater ambitions for myself than the path that you took. But nonetheless, I'm proud that all of you are here, and I thank you for your willingness to serve on these various bodies. I will say this because Mayor Brown and Mayor Feinstein remind me of this all the time, to remind you that as appointees, we're not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to dictate the terms, but I do hope and expect that if I do call, you take the call, and then if you have very strong opinions that are in contrast to the opinions that have been expressed by the administration, please just give us heads up. There have been just 2 circumstances, which is not so bad in 7 years, where I wasn't given heads up, where one of my directors, my department heads, was removed by a commission without anyone letting us know at 2 in the morning, and that we had some changes to the commissions that were dramatic, where we didn't get heads up. We worked through those, but all I ask is use your judgment. Always look out for the best interest of the city as a whole. Represent the people that come in front of you, but don't forget that there are 800,000+ people that you also represent that have never come down to City Hall, and the 150 people that work here and live here full-time represent good and important things, but there are a lot of people that also need to be represented here, and so I always want to remind you to reach out beyond just the halls of City Hall and those that have the time to show up and are privileged enough to express themselves directly to you. So that's my only admonition, that's my only criteria, my only consideration in the context of a string that is attached to this appointment. Just give me heads up, do what you think is right, always stand on principle, don't play politics. This is not about you, this is about the people we represent and the people we serve, and we're privileged, all of us, to have this moment in time, and that we are honored by the fact that this city has a charter that allows us to have this kind of representative governance structure that allows this kind of interaction and deliberative process. So thank you again. With that, just a few words. We have an Arts Commissioner that we'll be appointing, City Hall Preservation Advisory Committee, a body that was formed by Mayor Brown, a building that was that he disproportionately responsible for providing. Entertainment Commissioner, why, Al, would you want to be on the Entertainment Commission is beyond me. We have Representative on Film Commission, Billy, who's an old friend who does great work. Human Rights, we'll talk a little bit more about shortly in a moment. Immigrant Rights, Art and Sonia, thank you for your willingness to serve. Library, Beverly, it's exciting to have you on board, and so much good has been said about you. Mark Buell, the Recreation and Parks Department, and be reappointed as the chair of the Revenue Bond Oversight Committee at the PUC, very important, a body that was formed in, I think, 2002 formally. We also have a new commissioner that only she could not arrive on time because she worked for me, Becca Prada, who's not here yet, but her husband is. If you want to substitute yourself, Becca will be appointed on the Commission on the Status of Women. Just a few thoughts. I thank Luis Cancel for being here, all the great work the Arts Commission's done. P.J. Johnson is president of the body, just done great work, and I think it's example by all the great public art that we've seen outside, not just here in front of City Hall, but all over the city and county of San Francisco. Mark comes with a lot of good work behind him and a lot of exciting things in front of him. He was disproportionately responsible for helping us with our Sister Cities Arts Exchange program, which really is one of a kind. It's something completely unique in this country and something I'm very proud he and Matthew Godot and others worked so hard on, and I think he'll be an outstanding addition. This is the Artist in Residence program that is really an international model. We all know Jim and Ellen and May and their work here and the preservation of San Francisco City Hall and everything you see around us, the Civic Center. They appropriately were reappointed by the board as they had to be confirmed first, and all are outstanding leaders and stewards in their own right. Ellen is in my office every day doing tours, and Jim outside the office every day doing his part to advocate on behalf of City Hall and the Civic Center, and May is everywhere else in the community, ubiquitous and always out front and a true leader. Al Perez, again, Al, I thank you for serving on the entertainment. I've been beating up the Entertainment Commission lately. Maybe I should have taken Mayor Brown's advice and not supported Mark Leno in creating it in the first place, but we have it, and there are good people that work there, and we're working through some of the issues, and you guys demonstrated real leadership this last week on some of the issues down at the port with one of the clubs, and I liked that kind of immediacy in terms of response, and I feel like we have some new resolve there, and with your leadership and stewardship, I'm confident the commission will live up to all of our expectations. So thank you. Billy, again, no one does more in terms of engaging our youth in the community on film, and we're going to have a new director. I haven't announced her yet, but good news there, and so I look forward to you working, and we got more good film coming in the next few months. It's amazing. This thing going to take off. This 2010, 2011 are exciting times for film and TV in San Francisco. Shirley Black, what more can be said? One of our outstanding leaders and anchors in the community, founding member of the SFMTA board, a victim, not just Willie Brown, but also Shirley, a victim of term limits on the MTA board, and we were very proud. I know probably 90% of you here for Shirley, as you should be. We just want to thank you for your support of her, and thank you to Shirley for her support of our city, and I think will be an outstanding addition to HRC, which is really an extraordinary commission with a great leader who's running that department, who we're also very, very proud of. Immigrant rights, Sonia and Art. This is an interesting body, and you're in the midst. Sonia, you're in trouble. A lot of work in front of you. Art's familiar with a lot of this as well. You know, it's a split body, 15 members. 8 of you have to actually be immigrants. Seems appropriate on immigrant rights. And I'm very proud. Sonia from Ireland, Russia. That will be self-evident when you hear from her. Who's an old friend, and Sonia is a small businesswoman and someone who's very engaged and engaging and has a lot of opinions, and she'll be amply expressing them on the Immigrant Rights Commission, and I look forward to that. And Art as well. Art's an up-and-coming leader in the city, and I really am honored that Art's going to get involved in the political process as a member of the Immigrant Rights Commission, so I'm excited about that. Just briefly, Beverly, the library, so much has been said about Beverly. I got more calls from people I respect and admire, people like Louise Rennie and others who said, you got to get Beverly on a commission. No better commission than commission she was a steward of as member of the Friends of the Library body, and she's done great work, and she comes with a huge list of support and recommendation. I think this will turn out to be a great pick and great for our library system, and Louise is doing great work in that branch improvement. I mean, how many libraries are expanding hours in this economy on Sundays and opening up new branches? How many cities can lay claim to that? It's really exciting to see, and so I think Beverly will continue in that tradition to keep our libraries moving in the right direction. Mark Buell, the best of the best, president of our commission. No one needs him more than the guy who's shaking his head, Phil Ginsburg, our director. You're lucky I'm reappointing Mark. Phil, who's also doing a great job, and I'm very excited about what Mark has done already just in the few months that he's been on this board, but no one more familiar with City Hall and no one with more respect, even from those that sometimes don't always respect what's happening on this side of the aisle, and have come to respect greatly Mark's leadership and stewardship. So thank you, Mark, for continuing to want to serve. Kevin, the PUC, the Revenue Bond Oversight, this is where real jobs are being created. The WESIP program, $4.6 billion, 27,000 jobs, a regional project, but we got to make sure we're spending our money wisely, and that's what Kevin's been doing in other capacities, and will be doing now in this new capacity. And finally, Becca in absentia, who will be, obviously she wants a private swearing in back in her old office, so I'm sure that's what this is about. All right, guys, that's enough from me. I know this was long-winded, but I'm just honored and proud of all of you for being here. And I'll ask all of you to raise your right hand, and this is the easy part. You can stand if you wish for the heck of it, but you don't have to. But if you like to, it just adds to the formal occasion, in spite of my missing tie. And I'll ask you to repeat after me, and what I'll do, I'll say I, and then I'll ask you all to state your name. And then when we come to the end, I'll say during such time as I hold the position, and then you will each mention the appropriate body that you are being appointed to. So beyond that, there's only two things you have to do. The rest I'll do, and all you have to do is repeat after me. Again, raise your right hand, and I say I, you say your name, and we'll get through this in one brief moment. I.
Ellen Schumer.
Alabama.
Beverly Hills.
James Nass. Mark Buell.
Shirley Breyer Black.
Mark Rankin.
Together do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. And during such time as I hold the position as a member
San Francisco City Hall Reservation Advisory Commission.
Entertainment Commission.
Immigration Rights. Library Commission.
City Hall Reservation Advisory Commission. Recreation Park Commission.
for the city and county of San Francisco. Congratulations, commissioners. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. That's